Good evening, good evening. Tonight's topic is going to be modern dating and why it's so broken. And let's look at modern dating to conventional dating or dating of yesteryears. And the biggest difference between modern dating and dating back in the past was that men were men and women were women. And so we've gotten into a culture now that women are now working more, getting more educated than men are. In some cases, passing men in education. And I'm fine with that. But what I've noticed in this problem is that now women are becoming overly masculine. And so now they want to rule the household and putting the man at the bottom like like you would do in a fish tank where you put the gravel and sand on the bottom. They want to treat the man less than, but demand more of the man. So there are several problems here. One, the in 2024, the idea of a provider male is almost non-existent. There are also men that are high stature men that are still providers, but let's think of it this way: is it really realistic to believe that the average man is making about $50,000 a year, and you still expect him to pay all the bills, and you pay anything? This is what the number one of the biggest top reasons why relationships fail and don't last is because of finances. If you are taxing a man at his 100% of his income, and you are keeping 100% of your income, that is a relationship set to die. Because at some point, he's either going to have to get additional jobs, but why would he have to get an additional job if you're out there working? If you're out there working, and your money is your money, and his money is your money, that doesn't make any sense. That only worked in the past when women were homemakers, when they was provided for the family, when they actually had skill sets that they would do at home. They would teach the kids would go to school, they would dress the kids, they would iron, they would cook for their husband. Now you have women that work and they get home almost as late as the husband does, and then he gets home, there's no hot meal, he either has to cook his own meal, order out. So in a man's view of it, what are you really there for? If you're not helping me in anything, and I'm having to do everything that I do as if I was single, again, women, why are you there? For I can make your life more comfortable? No, because you need to be an asset to me if you want to be upgraded from the status that you're currently at. Right now, you might be status as a girlfriend. Girlfriend doesn't mean that you're going to automatically get promoted to wife. So there's three types of women. We have the hoochie mamas, or the girls that we just randomly date, visit, the girls that we may have, fun with. But those girls don't ever get promoted to girlfriend. And they definitely don't ever get promoted to wife. Those are side chicks, right? Usually, some people call them side chicks. They don't ever get promoted. They always stay at that level. They don't go up. They can't go any further down because there's no other levels. So they stay right where they are. And then you have girlfriend, which the man sees some possibilities in you. I'm going to make her my girlfriend. But he's expecting something out of this. I've heard women say, I don't cook for him. To be honest, I actually had a girl tell me this once, that she won't cook for a boyfriend. She has to be married to her. And you know what I told her? If you can't cook for me now, I would never marry you. So that's a catch, what they call bait and switch. She wants you to marry her before she can prove that she can actually do her wifely duties. But then once you married, that's the catch and bait, because then she'll sit there and say, I'll never cook. To this date, I don't know if she's still cooking. And I don't think she ever cooked. I think she mostly, when I think I was dating her, she mostly ate out. Or I cooked. But that's the way it is. A lot of women these days don't know how to cook. The oldest woman I've ever met that couldn't cook was 45 years old, and I was like in my 30s. And she like, how do you eat? She's like, my mom cooked. The ability for women to cook is crazy, because I do have other channels, and one of the channels I have is a cooking channel. And I go look at my analytics, and guess who are the main people that watch the cooking channel? Men. Very few women watch it. There are sporadic incidents that women come on, but somewhere near 80-90% of the viewers are men. Women don't care about cooking anymore. They don't want to do any wifely duties, but they want their bills paid and everything else. And this is why men are getting tired and frustrated at having to break their backs to keep a household together when she does want to put as little effort as possible in. And then you can't tell her anything. She doesn't want to listen. I had a very interesting debate with a bunch of young girls out of Maryland University, and they were talking about how their boyfriend, the issues they were having with the boyfriend. I was trying to tell her, and she was like, he telling me I can't dress a certain way. And I tried to explain to her knuckle-ass self that when you dress like you single, men think you are single. So you out there showing your coochie and your bra and your top parts out there, men are going to assume that you're single. And you know what this chicken head told me? That's toxic. So women tend to use toxic way too loosely. Anytime a man's trying to protect her or trying to show a better way of doing things, he's toxic. So every time I hear a woman say the word toxic, I'll immediately throw that over on my witchcom, because basically that man just tried to tell you, boo, I'm with you. You don't need to try to impress other men by showing him things that he shouldn't see in the first place. But you want to show everybody, because women are almost like children. They need that constant stimulation. If you ever raised a child, that child constantly wants your attention, right? So he or she, they already go, hey, Dad, let's go for a walk. Women are the exact same way. If you don't have a cattle prod up her derriere, she loses interest. You have to, and you know something funny, really funny? And I've noticed this doing dating. You can't be nice to them. You would think if you be nice to a woman, she would appreciate. That's why good men end up losing the battles, because he actually gives her good attention. He'll call her, text her, and then she like, he's lame. He's always texting me and calling me. But then you got Rookie over here, who may call her and talk nasty to her, and she likes that. That excites her. That's like somebody giving some nitro in her engine. But the good guy she don't want, because he's being the guy that she should be dating, but she doesn't want to date him because she'd rather be smacked around a little bit. So you tend to find women who get themselves into bad relationships, then don't understand how they got into it, and then it doesn't hit them like a sack of bricks until they get into the 30, 40, 50, 60s, that the men they've been attracted to the whole time are the men they should have never dated. These are the same men they gave their wound up to. These are the same men that they allowed run trains on them. These are the same men that treated them like garbage. These are the same men that called them the bees and all these other interesting adjectives. These are the men that treated them like garbage, and yet they stayed with them because they liked that attention. And so when a good guy finally comes around, they've been abused so much in their life that they don't know what a good man looks like. And so she would treat the good man like trash. Like and I've done it myself. I've had guys that are like, hey, girl, I got this friend of mine. He works. He's a good worker. And she look at him, she's like, he's lame. But then I can show him to this other friend I have who's a piece of garbage, walking around with his pants hanging off his butt like he should be in jail, or somebody's girlfriend, or some dude's girlfriend. And she was like, ooh, he got swag. What? He don't even have a job. He lives in his mama's basement, or he lives with his mom. Dude got his own place. He has a car. This dude don't have anything. Why are you attracted to this? And that's what they are. Women, not all women, a lot of women, and they love that toxic behavior. That's why the good guy would never, ever, ever, ever win until she gets older. But by that time, nobody wants them. By that time, you gave up the good parts of your life to a guy that was a piece of garbage, instead of going out and being with the good guy. and who could have done good with. You didn't turn around and find that guy 20 years later, and he's a CEO of some company. And you're like, wow, he did good for himself. And then you look over here, this dude that you done got 4 kids by, who's living in with you in your Section 8 housing, and he ain't done nothing. You ain't done nothing, and what? Or let's assume that she's not on Section 8. Let's say she has a good job. You got Rookie Raven who's living in your house, driving your cars. And trust me, I knew guys that had kids, that left their kids. And when I say kids, I mean kids, 4, 5, 6 kids, left their girlfriend to be with another woman who knew they had kids because they thought he was cute. Driving her car and don't have any money at all. But because she thought he was attractive, she was willing to lay the line down. See, women need to understand that, and men, we learned this a long time ago, and especially as we get older, we like, hey, all I want is a good woman who don't talk, who don't got a trout mouth, who can respect herself when she go outside, not wearing no bonnets and all this little crazy shit that y'all women are wearing now. Don't got no razorback nails and walking around with half your back end showing and got these hoochie mama shorts and dress like a woman. We like to see women in their feminine phase. There are so many women out here that look like dudes, that act like dudes, talk like dudes. It's almost, I like, wow. And how old are you? And there's so many of them that got this stuff in their head. It's like, it's disheartening sometimes to look at how far we have regressed as a people. And you go back in the days of Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and those, back when women were women, they dressed and dressed. If you see a woman in a dress, sometimes if you see one in a dress, she got bedroom slippers on. What? But why? Because they so ratchet they can't help themselves. They can't put 2 sentences together. They don't know how to talk. And so women need to get better. And in the black community, we're in a train wreck. I don't know what we're going to do with that mess. But you need to look better. And you need to find a good man and keep him. It ain't the men that's leaving. It's the women that are leaving. And the thing is, they're not leaving the piece of garbage guys. They leaving the good guys to go with the garbage guys because they like children. They need constant stimulation. If you need constant stimulation, you need to go see a therapist. Let me say that again. If you constantly need reinforcement and stimulation, you need to go see a therapist. Because there's something wrong in your head that you've been a grown-ass adult and you still need somebody to be up your backside 24/7 to make you feel special about yourself, because apparently you don't think you're special about yourself. You need somebody to constantly reinforce. That's childlike behavior. You expect that out of a 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 7-year-old maybe. And right around that time, kids eventually start to become independent, and you don't see that clingy effect all the time. But if you're a grown-ass woman and you still clinging and you need all this attention, you may need to go talk to somebody, because that's not normal behavior. Women that have a sense of pride don't need all this positive reinforcement. And it's almost like if you comfort in your own skin, you are comfortable in your own skin. And I think the problem with most black women is that they're not comfortable in their skin. They don't even like their own hair, let alone anything else. They're one of the most glued people on the planet. They glue everything to their skins, including their fucking eyelids. There's a lot of negative health effects to this, but they would rather die from cancer than to wear that natural beauty. Now, I will tell you, Western Africans have been starting to do the same thing, so they're becoming a train wreck. This seems to be like a Western culture thing. But some of the most beautiful black women I've ever seen in my life, and you go sit back, have been Ethiopians. You see them Ethiopians coming over here? Natural, almost no makeup, natural hair, natural nails. The femininity is so overflowing that you can smell them a mile away. You look at it like, and the appearance, you can tell that all other races came from that because their beauty is just almost overwhelming. It's like, how are you so pretty and you're not full? Because as Americans, we used to send our women caked up with makeup. And you see these Ethiopians, they just almost mouth watering. And if I ever get married again, it's gonna be a freaking Ethiopian because they're absolutely drop dead gorgeous. But you don't see the ratchetness. They talk in complete sentences. You don't hear them talking, and when they dress appropriately. They don't dress like they hood rats. They don't dress like they seeking additional attention that you see out of Western culture women. They dress with a sense of pride. They're almost like black stallions. They walk with a sense of purpose, and you can tell them. You can sit there and you can look at them and be like, "You're Ethiopian, aren't you?" Because they have this very unique beauty that's just almost mind-boggling sometimes. And I've seen them. You don't see many of them around, but you can tell the difference between Ethiopian and a West African, or Ethiopian and a Western woman. It's like night and day. One is ratchet, the other's not. The other one's very. The demeanor is mild. They talk to you like they got some sense. They don't use a lot of filler words, like, you know what I mean? They don't call each other the B words. They don't call each other derogatory terms to express how they act like they have some sense. And when you see this, it almost leaves you speechless because you're not used to that kind of experience. Because shit. You're not used to that kind of experience because we're used to the ratchetness of Western cultures. And so when you see a woman that's so engulfed in her femininity, it's overwhelming sometimes. And I'll sit there and sometimes I'll stare. It's what I call thermal. If you ever taken electronics and you ever heard the word thermal runaway, it's when a component starts to heat up and then it is the ability to dissipate heat gets to the point where it can't dissipate it faster than it's heating up. They call it thermal runaway. And so when you see this, you start looking at her and you don't subconsciously realize that you're looking at her, and then you start looking at her even deeper, and then you don't realize it until you snap in, you're like, wow, I'm really staring at this chick because she's so gorgeous. And I've yet to see any Western women that look anything remotely as pretty as some of them. Now, I'm gonna be honest. Not all Ethiopians are beautiful, but a lot of the ones that come over here are drop dead gorgeous. And I'm telling you, it would make your mouth water as if you had a Reese's cupcake that's been Reese's cup that's been in the refrigerator for 2 days. Absolutely breathtaking. Now, if our women over here act like they did, we wouldn't have the problems that we have in today's culture. Our women are always overly sexualizing themselves because they need that childhood attention. And so modern dating it's become almost impossible because men are getting tired of dealing with the problems that you bring on yourself by getting ran through. You know, most of y'all, by the time you're 30, you've already had 50 plus bodies ran through you. Your ability to pair bond with a man is pretty much been eradicated. And you have all these other emotional issues and traumas that you allowed yourself to go through because you want to have your H days. I'm going to give you a prime example of how having multiple partners can destroy you. If you only had a vanilla ice cream sandwich, you would never know any different from any other ice cream sandwich. So you would be content with that ice cream sandwich. But if you go out here and you're having a banana ice cream sandwich, or you have a Napoleon ice cream sandwich, or you have the ice cream sandwich with different combinations, you're always going to be comparing each ice cream with all the ones that you have experienced. And so women tend not to be satisfied in a lot of relationships because you've been with Rookie, Ray, John, Bob, Mike, George, Henry, and you've been with all these different dudes, and every time you have a sexual experience with them, you're comparing them to all the other guys you've had sexual experiences, and so you tend to not be as satisfied because now you're like, well, John was a little bit this, and Henry was okay, and you put your mind into overload when you should never put your mind into overload. You over here comparing apples to oranges to bananas and peaches, and so you're never going to be happy. The more men you get, the less happiness you have. That's why a lot of women are on psychotropic drugs and stuff, and they're so depressed these days because you allowed yourself to get ran through. Getting run through isn't going to give you more experiences. I mean, it will give you more experiences, but it's not going to increase your overall happiness. And this is why modern dating is on the decline and will continue to fail until women start changing the way they behave. Now, I often hear women talk about men ain't what they used to be. And I'm going to explain why that's the case is. And again, I'm not trying to point fingers, but I'm going to point fingers. There are too many women out here having babies by too many different men. You're not married to the fathers, and so you're trying to raise a household the best way you can. You're a woman, you're not a man. And statistics shows this to be true. Not that what I'm about to say is going to show you to be true. A young woman's first love is going to be her father. That's the first love that she's ever going to have. That's the strongest bond that she's ever going to have with another man, is the love for her father. And so when she doesn't have that bond, she is more likely to be a 304. She's more likely to get pregnant before completing high school. She's most likely to have multiple baby daddies. She's most likely not to finish high school, and she's even more or less likely to finish up college. And she's most likely to be on Section 8. Because it's going to be difficult for her because once you start having one baby, the second one is right around the corner. And so this also applies to young men. You look at young men, you'll see you could tell a young man, if he does not have a father figure in his life, how easily he gets triggered. Men that don't have fathers in their life act like little girls. They get triggered very easily. They're not logical thinkers. They mostly are driven by their emotions because they didn't have a father to show them how to behave. We are all animals. And so we learn from what we see. And a lot of women, and I know you're going to hate to hear this, a lot of women jump through more bodies in a little bit. So when your young daughter seeing you bringing Mike this week, George next week, Pookie the week after that, she's going to see that as normal activity for an adult. So she's going to think it's normal for you to have multiple dudes, and so she's going to mimic what she's saying. And then your son is going to see that same behavior and think that's also normal. I should just get as many women as I possibly can. And then you turn around and you have the next generation of women crying about men ain't like they used to be, and they used to be this and that. But here's the problem. The cycle doesn't end because you turn around and do the exact same thing by having babies out of wedlock. You have no foundation and husband in the household. Then you turn around and have a bunch of babies by a bunch of different dudes, and the cycle completes again. It starts over again. Your kids turn around and do the exact same thing that you doing. And in the black community, this has to stop because we're creating little freaking monsters. We're creating girls that's too loose and boys that's too feminine. In some cases, some of them women are masculine. You hear some of these young girls talking. If their pitch was a little bit high, you thought it was a dude. I mean, if it was a little deeper, you'd think it was a dude because they talk. And it's like, F this, in this, be this. Nothing ladylike. They don't act like women at all. They act like, oh my gosh, I'm like, and so the cycle is repeating itself with no change in which I don't think it's ever going to change, because in order for a change, that means women are going to have to start behaving better, and for that to happen, that means you're going to have to break the cycle, and no one's interested in breaking the cycle because you're too busy watching music videos of people like Sexy Red and all these other trifling ass women on TV, and you think, and that's how it's become the norm to be as ratchet as humanly possible instead of sitting your tail down and becoming a good wife. Now, I'm not saying that you can't go get a job and get educated. Girlfriend, knock yourself out. Go get educated. But find you a guy to be your builder-boo. So y'all can build. See, the thing with the black community is that we too busy trying to go from 0 to 100 and skipping the mile 1 to 99. So you want to jump from rag to riches. That's how a lot of y'all end up getting in trouble. But to get to where you need to get to, especially in this economy, it may take two people. And so you need to find that compatible person. You're not going to find anybody that's going to be your exact match. This, some of y'all watch Disney too much, and a lot of y'all believe in this soulmate and all this. Somebody was made and created just for you. That's a bunch of hogwash. And y'all talking about, astrological science. That's also BS. None of that stuff is really true. It just makes you feel good. But find a guy that is as compatible as you can get, and then work with him, and then he works with you, and y'all can build a foundation together. But you're too busy trying to get ran through, and it's funny because I often see black women get upset when black men date white women. Okay, especially black men that got money. And I'm gonna tell you a little something I noticed. So you go into college, right? So while all these black women out here getting ran through, right, and having sex with all these other dudes on campus, the white girls are getting ran through too. I mean, I'm not gonna say they're not, but at some point, usually the second year of college, somewhere between second year of college, they start to slow down, and then what they do is what black women don't do. They start going out and looking at the guys. They go to football, they go over to the biology department, the math department, the IT department, and they start scoping out guys that have potential, right? So they start looking at these guys, right? And they look, okay, that might be the next Bill Gates. And this guy over here, he's a really good football player. So let me go ahead and snatch up with him. While the black girls out here getting ran through, having sex with everybody until they in college, you have white girls getting married while they're still in college or right as they get out of college. And you get all these black women come out of college. Only thing you have to show is a degree and knowledge. And then you get peed off. Oh, the same guys that they would never date who become successful, they turn around and get pissed off because they with a white woman. Well, you didn't want him, so why are you pissed off? You didn't give him a time of day. You didn't put no effort in it. You too busy allowing the whole campus run through you like a damn train. So stop the cap and stop acting like you pissed off all the time because the black man chose the white woman when you didn't want him. And stop getting peed off at the passport bros because you want a traditional man, but you want to act like a 3 or 4. Men are tired, and we've done too much. And the system the state's against us, the federal government's against us. If we have babies by you, the chances of we getting custody is very little, unless we in a handful of states that allow equal custody between both parents. But most states are anti-man. And so you go out and she's more likely to get custody. You're most likely to pay child support. You're most likely, if you married her, she might get alimony from you, which I think all that stuff need to be thrown in the trash, because if you can't afford to take care of your kids, you need to give it to the daddy, let him take care of them. But the state's so interested in making money off us and destroying the family. The number one problem with all this, if you really want to fix the problem in our society, and I'm going to tell you, y'all not going to like it. And I've talked about this before. Section 8, food stamp, WIC. Section 8, food stamp, WIC, vouchers, all that stuff. Food stamps, get rid of all of that. Get rid of child support. Because if you start giving the kids to the parent that can afford them, which is usually the man, you don't have to worry about destroying that man and allowing him to suffer for 20 years trying to pay child support, living in a cardboard box because the state don't care, because state's making money off that. So give the child to the father if you can't afford to take care of him. Now, if neither one of you don't want to take care of the child, they give the child to the state, and the state can go after child support for both of you two. But if the father is capable of taking care of the chick, give it to him. The mother doesn't. Most states think the mother has higher priority over that child than the father. But yet, the father has to be 100% responsible for the welfare of the child. If a woman gets pregnant, I can't force her to have an abortion, but she can force me to be a parent, and the state will back her 100%. Is that even remotely fair? I can't. If I don't want to be a father, a woman can make me a father. There was an interesting story about Drake where he had sex with a woman. He actually used a condom. And according to the story, he went, I don't know why he did this, but he went and put hot sauce in the condom and threw it in the trash. This chicken head, thinking she got a payday, took that condom and poured it in and set her hot pots on fire. Now, if she would have gotten pregnant, the states would have followed through. The states don't care how she got pregnant. All the state cares about, she's pregnant. Don't matter if you wanted it or not, and then you got to pay for it. And I know another suggestion is to write a disclaimer. If a woman says that she's pregnant by you, she has 3 months to say that you're the father. And anything after that 3 months, she'll have to go to court. He's the father. Let that father decide if he wants the child and write off his rights. If he don't want the child, you don't go after him for child support. It's all her responsibility. These women will start making better choices than men. If you start giving fathers equal rights, and you get rid of child support, see, a lot of these women have babies just so you get a free house. But if you start giving those babies to the father who could take care of them, you could shut down the whole child support system, and we can go ahead and close all the laws on child support and get rid of that. You'll have family court for one reason: determine who's going to get child custody. We can literally. But you know why? Because when you have to fire. You either have to fire a lot of people or reassign them to other departments in the state, because they would no longer needed to prosecute the fathers. So if you did that and gave the kids to the father, let her go on about her business. Let him take care of them kids, because them kids are better off with him anyway. But the feminist movement and these liberal-hearted ass, busted-ass Republicans and people in Congress who are gonna say, "Oh no," and or the states talking about, "Oh well, we can't lose this $25 million or $50 million. Are we making a month? We can't do this, so we can't make it so it's easier for the father." But you have no problem putting his ass on a stake and burning him, and you don't care if he has a place to stay. And I'm so sick of seeing men suffering because you think the woman should have a better life, even at his expense. Look at Kevin Costner. He's paying for the house. The wife is living in his house. He's paying, I think she tried to take him to court to get $250,000 a month in child support for 2 kids. See, child support is not for the kids. It's for the woman. It's to feed her lifestyle. Not the child support was supposed to be for the kids. But it's no longer that. It's expanding into a bigger monster where now the man has to take care of that woman that he's with and take care of the kids, even though the woman is getting somewhere near 98% of that income that's coming in. Because there's no one heck you're going to tell me it's going to cost $120,000 to take care of 2 kids. Not on this planet, it doesn't. But again, the state don't care. They take a percentage of whatever he makes and give it to the mother. She has a reason to do better because she got $120,000 a month coming in. He's over here busting his chain while she gets paid, sit back like a fat cat. Is that even remotely fair? I understand life is not fair, but why are you allowing these women to live for free? You know what? Give the kids to the father. The father don't want them. He has an option to say, okay, I don't want her, but here's a fair amount of money I can go give her, and $120,000 don't. With her 2 kids, let's say you put them in private school, that's $24,000, right? That's $24,000 a year. And let's say he give both of them $600. Let's even go in a high mark. You give them $1,000 a month to cover miscellaneous expenses. Sports and schooling and all that stuff. So you're looking at probably 12, 24. We're talking about a little under $50,000 a year, not $120,000 a month. And that's paying for all that. She don't have just because you have kids with her wasn't done entitled to have a certain lifestyle. And this is why modern dating will always fail, because men are always getting screwed in the deal. And if you're in a state that doesn't allow that, move your ass out of that state and find a state that's going to treat you, give you a fighting chance of getting your kids. Because a lot of these states don't have a vested interest in making you giving you custody of your kids, because they make too much money off you. You're getting screwed by the girl or your wife, and you're getting screwed by the state. Your bunghole should be as big as a walnut, as big as a grapefruit, because you're getting done twice, and there's nobody to save you. And you can sit there and spend tons of money on lawyer fees and everything else. Once that DNA test comes back and says it's yours, it's a rip. It's done. The best thing you can hope for is to try to get custody. In most states, it's not going to happen. Nope. And so you wonder why men aren't interested in dating Western women, because it's too complex and too expensive, and they expect that they want more than what they're worth. And you got women who have high standards, who are four. She's a four, and she's expecting a man. She's 314 pounds. Look at Lizzo. She's big as a whale. And she don't want to date a man as big as she is. She want a man that's fit, and she's been rejected several times. Nobody want no big whale-ass woman, even if you got money. So women tend to have unrealistic expectations, and then they want to have these high expectations for the man, but the expectations don't match. So she's down here, he's up here, but she wants this. Her requirements is up here, but she's down here. You're a four. Get what you can get. We do. Men don't have a problem. They're like, hey, dude, I'm a five, dude. That's about. I'm gonna get whatever I can get. Women, oh, I'm a four. I'm a four. No, she's a four, but I'm a 10, and I need to get the best man I can get. Shaking that, bobbing that head, and all that fake weave all over the place. Bald headed all next door. Talking about, I need to get me a man. He need to pay all my bills, my rent, and everything else. And no man gonna sit up in here. But Lukey can sit up in there for free. Ray can sit up in there for free. John can sit up there for free. Why can't he sit in there for free? Because women are selective on who they're going to screw over and who they're not. And the guys that gaslight her, these simps that make her feel good, lie to them. I'm going to tell you, simps, y'all need to change your attitude, because you got over here gaslighting these chicks, making them think they fucking 10s and they freaking 4s, just because you want to get a nookie because you don't have any skill sets. And not all simps are poor. Some simps make some decent, really good money. They still simps though. And they're using men that's down over here, right around the 5'4", 3 errors. They men that don't have no skill sets, no game. It's like those guys that went out and spent $1,100 a month for a car because they got no game. If you know how to talk to a woman, you could drive around in a freaking hoopty and get some numbers. But they don't have enough confidence in themselves, so they tend to become simps and try to bribe women into dating them. And it's a hot mess. And so, is there a way to fix modern dating? Not the way that Western women think. And I don't think that their attitude is going to change, because most modern women don't think men are worth shit. They don't think we think that we're on the bottom of the totem pole. They're so picky. They want all this other stuff. They expect to get the cream of the crop when they're not the cream of the crop. So, do I see this improving? I don't see it improving. For men, I suggest you leave the damn country and find somebody somewhere else that's more traditional, because these hyenas, they ain't interested in doing nothing but milking you for cash. And I don't care who they are and what they claim. And let me think of something else. If you come across a woman who wants to get married, let's say y'all kind of kicking in, y'all dating and talking or whatever, and you're like 3 months and 2 months in, and she's already talking about marriage, you need to pick up your stuff and haul ass, because she has an alternative motive. Women tend to want to get married really quick. There's a couple of reasons for that. The number one reason is finances. She's hurting. A lot of these women out here these days are hurting financially. They've gotten themselves into predicaments that they can't get themselves out of, and they don't have a man to help them. So you just go out and you just listen to these women. You can hear the frustration in their voice because they need somebody to save them. The days of saver H are over. You guys are gonna sink on that tugboat that you're on, and maybe it would bring you back to reality if you sink. A couple of y'all start sinking because men are done. We are done, and men are not going to keep. I mean, the simps are always going to cater to you, but if you're looking for a good man, you're gonna have to change your attitude. And modern dating is doomed. And I don't blame the passport bros. I have a passport. I've already started spotting places to go because the women in this country, like I said, the ones that are really good, the ones that's worth something, are married. The ones that we have out here now, we call leftover women. Nobody wants them. But, because several reasons, they've already been used up, and then they have these overinflated standards that nobody can actually meet. Or most men can't meet. And the man that can meet them don't want them. Make sense of that. To them, it's logical. It makes a lot of. Well, I be by myself before I be with a lesser than man. Some men have settled for y'all raggedy hotpots for years. You tell me you ain't gonna be with a man because he makes $50,000 a year, and you probably make 40. When I start hearing women talking about I'm an entrepreneur and all this other bullshit, I got 12 jobs, 12 businesses. I'm telling you, if you ever ran a business, you ain't gonna have time to run 12 businesses simultaneously. That's a lie they telling you to boost their ego. But if you're making that kind of money, what you need a man for? You can just date. You know why they need a man? Because they're not making as much money as they claim they're making. They need somebody to help. If a woman starts talking about they need you to start paying all the bills and all this other stuff, you already know she's broke. Because apparently you must be having a difficult time paying your bills. If you need him to come in and save you, I told you, provided days are done and over. You better get the best man you can for what you're worth. And the older you get, your value will continue to plummet. And it's like buying that. It was like when you get that brand new car off the showroom for $30,000, $40,000, or whatever you're paying for it. And as soon as you hit that lot, it's already dropped down $5,000, $10,000. And a year later, it's worth even less than that. And if you get a luxury car like a BMW, Mercedes, their value drop like hotcakes. So you end up getting that 2-3 years down later, you can't even trade it in because you already, what you own the car and what the car's worth, you're already behind. So if you trade it in, you're gonna take a loss. So some men who got common sense would just lease because they know they can't resell because they take too much of a loss. So they'll take a car, do that 10, 12, and I think now they on leasing, they used to be $12,000 a year. I think it's down to 10,000 now. 10,000 miles you can do a year, which most people drive more than 10,000. Well, I don't know about most people. I know I do, but sometimes I don't drive at all for months at a time. But depends on where I'm going. But it's crazy that things are the way it is, and I just don't know what to tell you. It's a train wreck out there. So brothers, don't lose. It's not going to get no better here in the States. So that you can counsel. My guess is, find a country with some women with traditional values and do it. I mean, women think they can be like men and do the same thing passport bros are, and epic failures. Epic failures. Because one of their main complaints is that they want us to pay all the bills. But then you go into countries where the man make even less money. How is he gonna pay your bills if he makes even less money than American men? This dude, you go to some of these countries where, certain countries, some of them are lucky to make $600 a year. Like places like India, I think India is like up to $1,200 now a year. But there are some places that they don't make a lot of money, and you can go get a guy that's making $50,000 a year here. Trumps a lot of people in a whole lot of different countries. You go to Jamaica and all these little poor ass countries, thinking you gonna find a provider male. Boo boo, you are lost unless you gonna move in Jamaica with him and y'all live in a cardboard hut. he's not gonna be able to do anything for you. And so you trying to compete with it. I even heard some of y'all are even going to Thailand. Uh, what you gonna do with it? Those men make even less money. They make even less money than the men in the U.S. And then what do you know what it is? They heated. They're peed off that men are leaving, but they did it. They caused this problem. That's why men are leaving, because they're tired of going the extra mile and getting that horrible trade in that they're getting. So you know, it is what it is. And I know some of the topics I'm going to be talking about are going to be heated, and some of y'all are going to get into your feelings, but I don't really care. It is what it is, because we as people have to change, and as a country we need to change. Dude, we got a lot of stupid shit we spend money on that, you know, that needs to change, and it's crazy. So my opinion on modern dating, it's pretty much done in the U.S. I don't see it getting any better anytime soon. Like I said, there was a study about what 20, 30, 45 of all women are going to be single and childless, and by 2030, 45% of all women. Now remember, there are more women in this country than there are men. So you're talking over half the population is going to be childless. So where the men are going to come, and women are, couples are more likely to have females than males. So males are always, you know, less quality of males, because you don't need a whole lot of males to repopulate which couple, but you need a lot of females. That's just the way nature works. But if men are doing all the fighting and killing and defending, and you're not having any babies, I know I'm gonna be dead and gone when this happens. But if you guys keep doing the craziness that you're doing, and the population drops down to the point where there's not enough men to defend this country, you know what's going to happen? Your children are going to be the spoils of somebody's war, and that sounds scary, because none of y'all are going to be fighting nothing. Y'all don't even want to even fucking wash our cars half the time, let alone you go pick up something and fight for this country. So you guys are setting yourselves up for failure. You may not see it, but your children's children may see it. If you even have any kids, your nephews and cousins, your nephews and stuff may see it, because you're not having any kids, and you don't think American men are good enough, and you have these high standards. You know, it's ridiculous. You know, and that's why a lot of matchmakers don't even matchmake with women anymore, because y'all so freaking batshit crazy, and they don't do y'all anymore because y'all have unrealistic expectations. We all have expectations. We just have to be a little bit more real in what we want and what we demand. You can't look like gorilla and tell me you want a top tier man. I mean, you can ask for it. You ain't gonna get it, but you can ask. And it's very different than saying, hey, I would like this kind of man, but you know, I may not qualify for him, but so what can you hook me up with? That would be something a man would say. Women say, no, I don't want him. Oh, no, unless he's a 10 and he got a six-pack ab, and you look at her and she's like a swollen whale. Talking about she would need these, yeah, and he need to make six figures, and he got to pay all my bills. Sound like a bunch of cackling chickens. But anyway, I'm going to get off this. I can't believe these topics are lasting almost an hour, but modern dating is done. It's done. It's not going to get any better. And women complaining, men are complaining. Somebody's going to have to give. And until women start changing the way they think and behaving and treating American men, and going across the seas, like I said, men are always been known to downgrade. You women don't want to downgrade. You want to upgrade. So going to another country, you're not going to upgrade. You're going to downgrade. So either which way you choose, you're going to downgrade one way or the other, or you're going to be by yourself. So go ahead and get you a tank full of guppies or whatever, or, you know, dog, squirrel, or wolf, or whatever you want to get. Because if you don't think you're going to have to settle like men have for forever, you are absolutely delusional. We all settle. But you think you're so much better than men that you don't have to settle. That's the problem with modern dating. Your head's so swollen with nitro that nobody can't tell you nothing. You don't want to listen. You don't want to learn anything. And most important, most of y'all don't know how to shut the fuck up. You always running that mouth, and men don't want to hear that. He go ahead and he busts his ground for all day long. He got to come home and hear a cackling hen. No, you know something? That's why he left you, because he got tired of you. He didn't feel that he was appreciated for the things he did, because all he heard out of your mouth was nah 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 nah. What man? And if you came home every day and a man did that, you would leave. You would leave too. But anyway, modern dating is dead in the U.S. in the Western culture. So that's my insight on that. If you have any questions, you need any clarification on anything, you have any whatever, post it in the comment. Let me know if you like it, hate it, throw this video in the trash, whatever. Just put it in the comments. I'll read them when I get a chance. Until next time, folks, you be good and be safe out there, because I'm telling you, it's a crazy world out there.